This is Toby Eunice of A Gypsy's Kiss with a special announcement. Our fellow Forrest Fenn treasure hunter Jamie Jordan and her family lost their home and their business to the raging Mendocino, California fire, now the largest in the state's history. Jamie is most commonly known in the forums as JJ Diggins. While eventually insurance will help them to rebuild their lives, they are in the meantime dealing with all the other issues that comes with losing everything in what is effectively a moment's notice. A group of fellow searchers with the help of Forrest Fenn has established an account at which donations can be made. They have also arranged for a raffle drawing to be held in Jamie's name using the above account. Here's how it works. For a minimum contribution of $25, your name will be entered into a raffle drawing for a set of donated items, including the following: Fenn Treasure Search Medallion, serial number 001, donated by Fenn himself. A copy of The Thrill of the Chase, first edition, signed by Forrest Fenn. Copies of each of Too Far to Walk and Once Upon a While, both signed by Forrest Fenn. You can enter as many times as you wish, but each entry must be at least $25 in order to participate in the raffle. To qualify, your contribution must be made before 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on August 31st, 2018. You can enter the drawing at www.paypal.me/JJDiggins. I've posted the link in the description box below. Mike Cowling, Cowlazars on YouTube, is responsible for managing the online raffle. We will provide regular updates on our scheduled programming as more information becomes available. Please contribute what you can. I have no doubt that Jamie and her family will appreciate your kindness. Finally, please share this video with your family, friends, and social networks so that they too can have a chance at the drawing while helping Jamie and her family to recover. Thank you. This is Toby Eunice with A Gypsy's Kiss.
Hello and welcome to A Gypsy's Kiss, the book club. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Stick with this a couple of seconds and we will eventually get to book club, but we're going to talk about JJ Diggins first. Oh, an intro here. You're on.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to like us with a thumbs up, share with your social media contacts, and let them know we're live and they should join us. And subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button, then click on the bell to receive notifications when we go live or when we put up a new video. Thank you. Housekeeping. There's my housekeeping button. It's hiding under all these papers. Housekeeping. Thank you to our moderators, Jimmy Fast, Joel Lewicki, Jason Eunice, Brian Eagle, and Eric Schmidt for being in our chat room and keeping things safe and the conversation flowing. Our presentation today on Chapter 18, Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies. Once again. Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies again. We'll get that right eventually. That presentation will be followed by open Q&A, but first Toby has some things to talk about.
I do want to talk about our wine first because I have a toast to make.
Alrighty. What about the wine?
It's a Pinot Gris from...
Where's the bottle?
Okay, so I didn't want to say anything, but it's that what was left from the Kendall Jackson from a couple of weeks ago. Sorry.
Leftovers.
It was, yeah.
Are we pour again?
No, we can't pour. I just forgot to get it, but this is a good wine. I mean, that doesn't hurt. It's not the only wine out there. Ready?
Sure.
To the search community for being such good people.
Okay. Cheers to that.
Here's to you guys. Okay, so I need to talk a little bit, bring you up to date on JJ Diggins. We'll call it the JJ Diggins project. And
Sounds
it
like a
begins
TV show.
with, as of last night at 9 p.m., which is the last time I had a chance for an update, the donations total was $6,100, which is pretty good. I'm sure it's risen since then, and we'll have another update for you later. You can actually go to the Hint of Riches, and she's got a sticky post on there that she's going to, that Christy, not she, that Christy is going to keep updating. If she comes in the room, if you see Christy come in the room, one of our moderators, let her know to, if we're talking, let her know to post the link to where people can keep updated in terms of what's happening. You can make donations to paypal.me /JJ Diggins, and I've put the link in the description box below. If you're not a fan of PayPal or do not have a PayPal account or can't for one reason or the other get to it, you can send a check to Mike Cowlings at the address in the description box below. Make it out to Mike Cowlings, and make sure that you include your email address if you wish to be included in the drawing. Some people apparently do not necessarily want to be included in the drawing, but when you see the list, hear the list of items, you're going to change your mind. And the donation cash is increasing rapidly. So I'm going to have Shelley read it as of this point, and then what I'll do is we'll continue to update it as things are added, and I'll post a link to this list in the description box below, so as it is updated, you guys can go to that link and see the updates. Although, as I said, Christy has been doing a good job, a great job, of keeping this updated. We've had a couple of people ask us about donations. We are not involved in the organization of this effort, other than promoting it on our channel, and that's our choice. We've decided to do that. So if you have something that you care to donate, contact Christy or KPRO at the Hint of Riches forum, and you can let her know what you'd like to donate. Okay. So why don't you read some of the stuff that's? Did you show them the list?
Yeah.
This is the list. Why don't you read some of that, please?
All right. Well, of course, the original.
Enjoy this beautiful wine.
The original was that we already knew about was Fenn Treasure Medallion number 001, donated by Forrest, along with his 3 memoirs: Thrill of the Chase, Too Far to Walk, and Once Upon a While, all signed. And the Thrill of the Chase is a first edition, so that's pretty exciting. Additional donations that have come in are from Paul Ammons. If the donations reach $10,000, he'll donate Treasure Medallion number 003.
And you guys know Paul Ammons from our chat. He's a subscriber and a viewer, and he's in the chat room all the time. So make sure you thank Paul for his donation. As a matter of fact, if you see any of these guys, thank them for their donations.
And if the donations reach $15,000, he will donate medallion number 002. So 1, 2, and 3 will be in the cash if we get to $15,000 in donations. A benchmark map signed by Forrest Fenn, donated by Dale Neitzel. 10 troy ounces of pure silver bar, donated by J.S. Golden Coin of Westchester. 100,000-year-old ivory tusk, previously owned by Forrest Fenn, donated by Rick McDonald. Leon Gaspard, The Call of Distant Places book, signed. That's a book, right?
It is a book,
okay.
Yeah.
Signed by Forrest Fenn. And then I
by,
thought, well, maybe it's a piece of art. I don't know. No. Signed by Forrest Fenn, donated by Rick McDonald.
And Rick, you know Rick is the Illinois Ghost on the forums and in our YouTube channel.
Jenny Kyle's Mysterious Writings book.
So I don't know what the title of that book is, but as we get it, we'll add it to the list.
6 copies of David Rice's book, and you know him as Desert File.
Right.
Douglas Preston's book, not sure which one, but probably the latest one, signed by Douglas Preston. 3 Fenn Treasure Hunt t-shirts, donated by Chris Ekman. Fenn Treasure Medallions number 572 and 573, donated anonymously. A package of 8 Fenn Treasure Medallions, donated anonymously. $1,000 in digital consulting services, donated by Jeremy Parnell. 2 Fenn Treasure Medallions, donated by Aaron, E-R-I-N. Mm-hmm. 2-night stay in a B&B in Colorado, donated by the same Aaron. And a 16 by 20 canvas giclée, which Toby had to teach me how to say, done by Sean Wells, and it's called Fenn's Searchers.
I have
Is
a
the piece
picture.
of art, and it's donated by Gypsy Kiss.
So Shelley and I are donating this 16 by 20 canvas, as she said. It originally, Sean lists it as the hikers, but we thought for this particular donation, we're going to call it Fenn's Searchers. And this is one of the images, the original images done by my daughter, Sean Wells. So I let K-Pro know that we're going to donate
And that's
that.
on a canvas.
Right, that's on canvas, 16 by 20 canvas. She says it's ready for hanging. I don't know if that means that there's something on the back of the canvas. It is a wooden frame canvas, but I don't know if it includes a frame, so I'll ask her about that, and I'll have more for you. So the drawing itself is scheduled to take place at 2 p.m. on Thursday, September 6th at Collected Works Bookstore. Shelley and I, Thursday, as you know, is our book club day, but we'll be transitioning over to the bookstore for that day and doing book club not book club, we'll be live streaming from the event
Bookstore.
itself, the bookstore. Yeah, we'll be doing
Instead of
book club at the
it's
bookstore. And we'll be live streaming directly from there for the entire event. We'll start at 1, just to give you guys a sense of what's going on in the room. Shelley, with these kinds of events, Shelley will probably have a microphone and be mobile, and I'll follow her around as the event evolves, and we'll get to talk to as many people as we can. So if you happen to be there at that time, make sure you let us know so that Shelley can interview you either before or after the event. So that should be a lot of fun, and we are very honored to have Forrest ask us to stream that event for him. So,
And I would imagine if we continue to get more and more donations, in the past what they've done is split it into 2 or 3 prizes so
Right.
that more people can have access to those prizes, especially with so many of the medallions
yeah.
being in there. They might separate out some of those and
Yeah.
have separate drawings.
So even if you don't win the big prize,
you might win,
you might
something
win
else.
some of the others.
But
So,
that hasn't been put into place yet, but it's a possibility.
yeah. So that should be a lot of fun. We won't take you through this list every time between now and the campaign ends 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time on August 31st. But as I said, I will post in every one of our shows from this point forward a link to this list so that you can keep up with what has been donated. Now, I will tell you, of course, that I'm just getting that information from K-Pro, so you could just as easily go to the Hint of Riches and get that information from there. Okay? Okay, you ready to rock
All
and roll?
right, let's get her started.
What are we
Blue
talking
Jeans
about?
and Hush Puppies again, pages 104 to 106, chapter 18, as we've numbered them. And we're talking about Fenn moving to Santa Fe
Yeah,
after his service ended.
after his service time. Well,
Yeah.
after Lubbock, right?
Well, yes.
So this
he
is-
lived in Lubbock for a couple of years, which he talks about in other places, but not in the book.
Yeah, by this time he seems to, by the time we get to this point in the chapter, he seems to be mentally in Santa Fe, you know. So this
And speaking of not mentioning it in the book, although the title is Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies again, he doesn't really explain that in the book. He's told about it in interviews and stories when he's telling stories, but so we know that he wanted to go to a place where he could wear blue jeans and hush puppies to work, or just every day. If he wasn't working, he could wear them every day. So it doesn't talk about it in the book.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The Thrill of the Chase, Chapter 18, Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies again, page 104 through 106 in the book. And as we said, this is the period after 1972. He left the service in 1970, spent 2 years in Lubbock building a bronze casting factory and then moved to Santa Fe. Page 105, paragraph 1. When I became a civilian again after 20 years of military life, my retired pay was $12,000 a year, which was adequate to sustain my family of 4. We just had to forego a few luxuries like Dr. Pepper's and downtown movies. But Lubbock was windy, flat, and sedentary, and we could hear the mountains calling. My wife tells the story that when she suggested we move to New Mexico, I jumped up and down on my hat, but I don't remember doing that.
He says, I don't remember that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
Forrest had grown up without money for extras, so this lifestyle wouldn't be new to him. However, Forrest was never one to sit idle when he could be exploring, learning a craft, or selling for a profit. The last line, where Peggy suggests they move to New Mexico and Forrest jumps up and down on his hat, is negated by him saying it was Peggy's story and he doesn't remember it. So it seems to have little significance. So why include it here? The line, "We could hear the mountains calling," reminds me of the John Moore quote, "The mountains are calling and I must go." John Moore, and this is from Wikipedia, April 21st, 1838 to December 24th, 1914, also known as John of the Mountains and Father of the National Parks, was an influential Scottish-American naturalist, author, environmental philosopher, glaciologist, and early advocate for the preservation of wilderness in the United States. So,
Muir is one of those people whose books, if you haven't read, you should read, especially some of his early work about his commitment to nature and how it made him feel when he was in nature. If you're a hiker, camper, lover of nature, John Muir should be one of your heroes. He certainly is if you're a Californian, because a lot of his work was done from there.
and he also co-founded the Sierra Club.
Oh, that's right. I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
Your audio is just a little bit off. I'm going to turn you up. So the only additional comment I have to make is that that sentence about my wife tells a story when she suggests we moved to New Mexico. I jumped up and down on my hat, but I don't remember that. That has, on occasion, in discussions, been thought of as his sense of disappointment, perhaps, at moving to Santa Fe, and that he didn't really want to, that he really wanted to move to, West Yellowstone or Cody, and Santa Fe was a disappointment. There's two things with that. Number one, I don't get a sense that Fenn is the kind of man that would not make that major decision. Not that he wouldn't allow his wife to make it, but it strikes me those are the kinds of decisions that he made, because when you make those decisions, you're actually making a promise to your partner, and the promise sounds something like, if you let me move to Santa Fe, I'll make us rich, or something. It's a commitment in a way. And I think that was reinforced by some of the comments that he made regarding the move from Lubbock to Santa Fe in the recently released 2006 interview that Davio 22 put on his YouTube channel.
I'll have to speculate, and we can fill in the blanks a little bit from what we do know, that he was working in Lubbock, bronze casting, but also at the same time I would imagine he was still involved with finding artifacts and selling or trading artifacts, and that's probably how he met and began to work with Rex Aerosmith, who he went into business with in Santa Fe. And because Rex would have been located in Santa Fe, it would make sense for him to move there to go into business with him. He doesn't talk much about Rex because Rex was bought out after the first year in their business. Forrest bought them out and took over the Fenn Galleries at that point. So it was also a business decision that would be the best place for him to move to go into business with Rex Aerosmith. He could have said, you know what, I'd rather work out of Cody and you stay in Santa Fe and I'll work out of Cody. But he saw the potential in Santa Fe as an artist community, and it has been an artist community since the turn of the century between Taos and Santa Fe, especially with some of the artists that came out of that area. Name some artists. The
Western artists, but especially the point at which...
Who's the woman? I can't think of her name.
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Georgia O'Keeffe, right.
But the art colony meme, as part of Santa Fe, developed in the 1930s as the New York artists and the Los Angeles artists started coming to Santa Fe in the summers to spend their summers there. And that's where the concept of the Santa Fe art colony became. And for those of you that are, I don't want to just say limited arts, but this is my experience. I spent 6 months in New York one time, and that was the most creative. It drove the creative impetus for me, because it was in a community that was very artistically competitive, new ideas, new thoughts, and it challenged you to become a better artist. And that was what was happening in the Santa Fe colony in the 30s and 40s, before the war, before and after the war. In the war, it wasn't so predominant. And my mother used to tell me stories about it, because that's the time that she was growing up. You know, she graduated from high school. She was born in 1919, graduated from high school just before the beginning of the war, went from there to the Los Angeles area to work in a war bomber factory during the period of the war. But then she came back into that art colony, and part of her experience with that art colony enabled her to confront her father about her getting into and making a living at tin work, because up until that time she was told that tin work wasn't a respectable way for a woman to make a living. But between the art colony mentality, this very competitive mentality in Santa Fe, and the fact that she had come back as basically a tough Rosie the Riveter, although she was only 4 feet 11 inches high, she was able to confront her father. And a lot of the great artists that developed in both New York and Los Angeles for that particular southwestern style of painting. And I'm not talking about the mountains and big cloud style. There is a southwestern style Santa Fe art colony of painting that came out of that period. And a lot of it was why I think Santa Fe has maintained its reputation as a center for the arts. But it's a small town, you know. It's not a big money town either.
Right.
Although there is money in Santa Fe.
Yes.
Ready? Mm-hmm. Page 105, paragraph 2. My daughters, Kelly and Zoe, although young, were becoming more and more ambitious for me. The list of people who could afford to dress like they wanted to was very short, and their names weren't on it. So we built an art gallery in Santa Fe, and our world started at the bottom again. We learned that a mattress on a floor wasn't bad at all, and that we could plaster walls and watch the Cowboys play at the same time. Although our learning curve was flat at first, it was never dull.
It seems funny that Forrest would blame his daughters for his need to build an art gallery to supply their clothing desires. But truly, all parents want to give their children more than they had as children, so it was surely a motivation for him to increase his earnings to keep his girls happy.
Because why do we do those things as parents if not for our children, right?
And I guess it also at the same time pushes us to, you know, be our best selves as well.
It does, but there's a conundrum, and the conundrum is the danger that your children, because of all the effort that you've put into improving their lives, they may become people that you didn't expect them to become, right?
Well, and I think we're seeing a lot more of that nowadays because each generation has more and more than the last generation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my kids can talk to their grandparents about when they were growing up and what it was like, and they're just amazed at how far they've come in such a, you know, a short span of time in history. You know,
I get to look at my children missed that generation of tweets and, you know, where they had to be completely attached to the telephone. Not that they don't use it, right. But their children, my grandchildren, they literally just are not, I don't want to say they're glued, but their method of learning and playing is all based on that. Sorry. Is all based on the use of the little texting machines. And it's really cute because as early as, you know, I have images of Mila on an airplane coming to visit with her headphones
and her little tablet, but that's so they can keep entertained, and yeah. That's nice too.
And the other thing too is a lot of the entertainment. The boys were over this weekend. My two grandsons are 11 and 9, and they were over, and we were supposed to go fishing on Wednesday, but the rains came up in the Pecos, so they ended up staying here, and they had forgotten their respective iPads, so I lent them a pair of mine, and I was looking at, so they downloaded a bunch of stuff onto my iPads, no. Which looks really strange.
You had that much memory?
But I thought it was interesting that they were equally divided between what I would consider play tools, like games, and learning tools. they were games, but if you looked at them carefully, they were learning tools. And it was amazing because they're not little boys anymore. They can hold their own in a conversation. They're kind of, I don't want to say sarcastic, but they have that confident little boy thing that when Poppy says something, they can challenge it, you know. So it was really fun to have them around, even though we had to spend the day indoors. Let me see, where was I? 105, paragraph 3. Page 105, paragraph 3. The character building lesson of defeat were numerous. One time, a lady interviewed me live on Santa Fe Public Radio. Her last question was, Mr. Fenn, what are the most enjoyable things in life? I thought for just a second and replied, a good sneeze, a good scratch, and self-pity. I guess it doesn't pay to be so honest, because she quickly broke to a commercial and then disappeared out the side door. Apparently it wasn't a good deal.
I like the visuals of that. That was fun. And it reminded me of something that came out of the 2006 Fenn interview that we just saw, the video for the Buffalo Bill Historical Society. And Fenn said in that video, in Santa Fe, I had a gallery in Santa Fe, and the people in town, everybody in town knew me because it was a little town. A lady lived across the street from me and had a radio program. It was a gossip program. I used to advertise with her a lot, only to buy, not to sell. Her name was Lorraine Carr, and she was a really neat old lady. And I just think we're starting to, you know, as we get more and more information, we can start to put things together a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if this had anything to do with that, you know, the public radio show, mm-hmm. and Lorraine and being the neighbors, and everybody knew him. And
so here's what I can tell you about Lorraine Carr. Number one, she worked at KTRC Radio, which was at the time the bigger of the two stations in town, KTRC and KBSF. And my uncle, Edmundo mm-hmm. Mundi, Uncle Mundi, was also a radio announcer at KTRC, eventually became the radio station manager on behalf of the much bigger group of stations that they were purchased by. But he had a beautiful voice, and he spoke both perfect English and perfect Spanish. And so he did both shows in both English and Spanish. But Lorraine Carr was his favorite, and he was a chistero, a jokester. And he used to tease her a lot about how they should just run away. He was unmarried at the time. He didn't get married until later in life. And he used to tease her about how they should run away. And Lorraine Carr was an older woman at that point, and she just used to tease him. She was not a member. She was an import to Santa Fe. She was Anglo, but somehow or the other they let her into the Sociedad Folclórica, which is the folklore society, the Spanish folklore society of Santa Fe. And when these women, my grandmother was a member, and when these women would get together, they would dress in traditional Spanish-style dresses, lots of lace and black and white, and the turtle shell combs mm-hmm. and things like that. And she would dress to the nines. Mm-hmm. She would just love these things. Mm-hmm. Could not speak a word of Spanish, but just had a wonderful time at these events. And I would see her occasionally because we would be there. They would take the children there just to get a sense. It was the folklore society after all. So we'd have to go, like we had to go to the Baile de Cascarones, and that was the other place that you'd see her at the annual Baile de Cascarones. There's a dance in Santa Fe that's held once a year. I don't know if it's still held, but it's hosted by the Sociedad Folclórica, and they call it the Baile de Cascarones, and a cascarone is an empty eggshell. So for 3 months before the dance, all the people that were members of the society, we would eat scrambled eggs because every morning our mother would poke holes in both ends of the egg and blow it out so they could save the shell. And then they would take the shell and they would fill it with confetti and other small lightweight objects. What's that stuff that if you throw at you, it's glitter and stuff like that. And they'd cover the ends, and then they would decorate them. And of course, my mother was an artist, and so hers were just so imaginatively and beautifully decorated. And then they are sold. They sell them to the gentleman at the dance. Mm-hmm. And the way that you ask a lady at the dance is you buy one of the eggs and you walk over to her, and you're supposed to kind of crush it on her head, but that's barbaric in a way. But what they do is they crumble it over the head in the confetti. So over the night, the women are all covered in confetti. They do a couple of what are they called? When women ask men, there's a name for it. Sadie Hawkins. So there's a couple of Sadie Hawkins dances, although there's a Spanish name that they used. It wasn't Sadie Hawkins. And the ladies could ask the men to dance, and part of it was the being able to crush the cascarone over the man's head this time instead of just them. But I remember that she would dance, Lorraine Carr would dance every dance, whether or not she had a partner. She just loved dancing. And this was... it was at one of these baile de cascarones that I discovered that my father could play the saxophone like Tommy Dorsey. I'm sorry, the clarinet like Tommy Dorsey. They had a band there. They always had a band, a band with brass and guitars and all that. And at some point, the band director invited my father up to play with them. I had no idea my father played the clarinet until that night. So it was a lot of fun. Oh, you're going to get some Santa Fe stories during this night.
Oh, that's good. That gives us a lot of
background.
Gives us a nice setting, visuals.
Page 106. Paragraph 2. I finally traded the poor thing to a museum for a small French watercolor, which I happily sold for $1,500. It pictured a bunch of fairies dancing around a rock, if you can believe I'd come to that.
And he's talking about that black and white.
The black and white
canvas that he had purchased that had the man and the gun and the dead dog on the bridge that he just couldn't get rid of.
He talks about it in the 2006 interview as well.
In fact, right here. This story can also be heard repeated in the 2006 interview video where Fenn recounts, I finally traded it to the Houston Art Museum for 2 little French paintings that I sold for $1,500 apiece. He doesn't mention the fairies dancing, and he says there were 2 French paintings in this telling. Is there a reason he wanted to emphasize the fairies dancing around a rock in the book?
The fairies dancing around the rock.
And then I go on to say, Fenn doesn't address the title of the chapter in this book, but he has talked about wanting to find a place where the world would let him off and he could wear short-sleeve shirts, blue jeans, and hush puppies. And then we have the questions to ponder.
Questions to ponder. When Forrest says, we could hear the mountains calling, it is obvious he wanted to move to the Rocky Mountain region. Why did he choose Santa Fe instead of Cody or somewhere else? The title is Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies Again. And why does it say again? Because he had never mentioned them prior to that.
Not that I recall.
The other thing, too, is when you're in the military, when you come home in the evening, not always, depending on how late you come home, your first kind of instinct is to change out of your uniform and into something that's comfortable, because uniforms are starched. You have to tuck your cuffs into your boots, and they're baggy, and they're very utilitarian. They're not very good looking, and you certainly don't want to...
I'm sure they don't smell great after a day wearing them either.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too, depending on what you're doing. I mean,
And that's Kevin. Kevin wears a uniform at Southwest, and he comes on. That's the first thing he does.
Takes it off.
Takes that off.
So maybe Blue Jeans and Hush Puppies again is an indication of when he would change out of his uniform. And that's the other thing too. He had the distinction of wearing a flight suit, which is even more. Although I used to have a theory that pilots wear their flight suits just so they can go like, yeah, I am a pilot.
Yeah, well,
I'm a flight suit guy.
Because they know ladies like the uniforms.
Ladies like the uniforms. Okay, you ready? Are we done?
Yeah, we are done.
Are we done? Mm-hmm. So let me see. All right.
And to show that it's that one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're about to go into chat, you guys. So remember that if you'd like to donate and perhaps just a small donation so I can buy another bottle of wine. So I don't have to use leftovers. No, I'm just kidding. I can afford it. I can afford it. I just forgot it. I forgot it this week. So.
Cha-ching. Sorry, I lost my sound. I don't know what happened. I think it's
Did you turn it off when you got that phone?
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Okay, so we're going to start live chat. There is a super chat button down at the bottom of the live chat window. If you'd care to donate to our project, please feel free to do so there. The advantage is that your question, if you so have one, will be highlighted and raised to the top of the queue, and we will answer that question for you, assuredly. Okay?
Yes!
Yes!
back.
Hell yes!
Oh, there.
Thank you.
Now we have our sounds back.
Better late than never, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're transitioning over to full screen, and here's your chat room, and let me go back to the top here. So, and we're going to go till 2 o'clock today, guys.
All right. Let's say hello to our friends in the room and some of us, some of you new people that we haven't seen before. Arthur Donnelly, for instance. Joel Lewicki from northern Minnesota Skull Bikes. He's one of our moderators.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something? So, Joel, I was going through...
Say everything.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Joel, I just want to say something to Joel. So I was going through our chat from a couple of weeks ago where my response to the wine that we were drinking that day, that was that Prophecy, the Sauvignon Blanc, was yummy. And Joel's comment was a true sommelier, wine sommelier, as in describing the various flavors of the wine when I said yummy. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it until it was too late, but I thought it was funny when I saw it. So thank you for that. Jeep Girl Jody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why don't you go ahead and I'll interrupt you.
No. Okay. Yeah, do that. So hi to Jeep Girl Jody from Colorado, Steve Rempel. Rempel. Hi, Jimmy Fast. Welcome. Thank you for being in the room. Fenn Treasure from hello from Joe. AGK, Steve says he really enjoyed our panel last night. You know what? You know the comment that I got from the panel, Steve, was it was too short. We felt like we always have a little after show to discuss how the show went, and everybody agreed we needed more time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refine the question just a little bit more, and we'll plan another show in that area as well. I can't do this. You do this. I like interrupting. I'm sorry.
Fine. 23 Monarch is here from Texas, and Journeyman is here. Mark Connor, Teton Trapper from, well, I don't know where he's from.
I think he's from Montana.
Montana? Okay. Gregory Ferguson, J-Raw from Colorado, Eric Schmidt, Jimmy Fast, Lori James.
From Salida.
Lori James from Salida, which is where we would have gone on vacation if we didn't have a boots
Search
on the
to do,
ground
yeah.
search to do instead. That's okay. Steve from Oregon, Brent from Texas, Austin, Brian Eagles here,
Scrolling down.
also from Austin. David Dow, Tammy Mattis, Dave Erickson, Unknown Searcher. Brian says he gave $25 to JJ Diggins, so he's in the drawing.
Oh, by the way, you don't have to give $25. You need to give $25 if you want to be included in the drawing. You can choose to give $25 and not be included in the drawing, but there's nothing that prevents you from donating other amounts. Although if it's not $25, you will not be included in the drawing if it's less than $25. They also recommend that rather than donate $100 once, you make four $25 donations to ensure that you have 4 entries into the drawing, the raffle.
Okay. Louis Lua from Houston. Kyle Lambert from Colorado Springs. And Cindy Guess. Mark Gramlich from Harriman, Utah.
Isn't who else is Utah is
Holly Purd from Maryland.
Ferguson.
K-Pro's here.
Hey, K-Pro.
Oh, look at that. See?
Oh,
Cha-ching.
your wish is my command, huh? All right, let's see if that comes with a question so I can take care of it here. Oh, it's from Greg Ferguson, who is the one from Utah. No question, just a donation. Thank you, Greg.
Well,
That's
thank
very
you,
kind of
Greg, and thank you for your comments on the softer side.
Oh, did he comment on your softer side?
Yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. And I'm at the bottom. And she's sorry she's late, says K-Pro.
Oh, there is no such thing as being sorry for being late. It's fashionable. Michael Ken from North Carolina.
Michael Cohen.
So,
Did you say Ken?
I did say. Sorry, I didn't see the O.
Oh.
So Michael K-Pro's from North Carolina as well. You guys ought to talk.
Matt SSN699. I don't know. That's new.
That's sneaky. Social security number? No. Okay.
I think we said hello to pretty much everybody. Now we just got to look for questions.
Let's look for questions. I think we were still talking at this point. Oh, Joel has added Jenny Kyle's book, Armchair Treasure Hunts, The Quest for Hidden Treasures.
Nice.
K-Pro says that more items will be updated tomorrow. Let's see what else we got.
Fenn's search community is a group of really great people and super personalities. Thanks, Matt. So are you.
Teton Trapper, you can hush a puppy, but you sure can't hush a kitty. Right, Teton? You're going to cost me my monetization if you keep talking like that.
Oh, that's not as bad as what we said last night.
Yeah, last night it got kind of...
Michael has to leave. And then,
where's it going?
I don't know. Away.
Away.
Away from the chat.
Scrolling down again.
He has work to do. Some people actually work during the week.
Yeah, I know. We are moving along very quickly here.
Teton says his sister's going to Albuquerque the first week of September. I may tag along to see the bookstore and meet folks at the drawing.
Hey, we'll be there. Make sure, we would really appreciate it if you'd come in costume so that we can interview you in costume. That'd be great.
And bring your extra glasses.
Because I have some embarrassing questions for you. Chatter has a question that he didn't mark. Oh, guys, make sure for those of you that are new here, if you do have a question, do us a favor and precede it with the @ a Gypsy's Kiss so that we know that the question for us as we go scroll through this as quickly as we do, we won't know if you're asking us a question or not if you don't do that. But Chatter says, is it known, words from Fenn, etc., if he took a single day to hide the treasure or more than a day? Chatter, the indication is, as Fenn has said, he did it in an afternoon.
The whole thing. Made 2 trips to my car and it was done in an afternoon. Eric Schmidt answered that. All right. Fenn treasure. Mr. Fenn moved to Santa Fe where he could make money, lots of it. Santa Fe means money. Not that Santa Fe is the love of his life. Santa Fe means lots of money. It was purely a monetary decision. You know that New Mexico is one of the poorest states in the United States, right?
Santa Fe does have money. There is money in Santa Fe, but it's not community money. It's individual money, and sometimes that makes it into the arts. And the art that is sold and purchased in Santa Fe, generally speaking, is sold by people who emigrated to Santa Fe and purchased by people who are visiting Santa Fe.
Yeah.
So it stays in Santa Fe in some ways, but a lot of it's not the kind of money that you think. By the way, Santa Fe, the full name of Santa Fe, it was named by the Franciscans, and the full name is Villa Real de San Francisco de Assisi del Santa Fe. That's the full name. My mother used to make me say it. She'd beat me with a stick till I said it correctly. Okay, she didn't do that. But...
Are we done now?
Yeah, sorry. Just having a moment.
I don't know. Let's see. We will see how Shelley responds to next week's campfire roast before I decide to go.
Uh-oh, Teton. Be careful, brother. She carries.
I carry a glass of wine. I don't normally... if I don't like it, I just won't watch your channel. So.
Dang nabbit, it happened.
What's that?
The flip-up thing here.
The flip-up. The
so
flip-up
we will
side.
see a shot. Okay, so right there. Okay. Jimmy Fast posted the link right there to the Hint of Riches forum where K-Pro is keeping us updated on everything.
Eric Schmidt says, was that interview Lorraine Mills? Anyone ever heard it? I don't think, no, that was Lorraine.
Carr.
Carr.
There were two of them. There was a Lorraine Carr, which I remember from my youth. Lorraine Mills came later, along later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? It's not Lorraine. It's Lorene Mills, isn't it?
Yes.
It's Lorene Mills,
Mm-hmm.
and she wasn't a Santa Fe. Well, that's a good question. Her work was done for the Albuquerque PBS station, but she was from Santa Fe. She had a report from a show called Report from Santa Fe. As a matter of fact, as that's what Eric was pointing out. I'm sorry I didn't get that. There is an interview of Forrest Fenn by Lorene Mills that was done, if I recall correctly, in early 2011, and we consider that one of the important interviews that you should watch, because it was before Forrest had developed two things. Number one, his speech patterns, how he answered a question, and his defensive mechanisms. So we have it listed on our blog as one of the 4 important videos that you should watch.
I'm at the bottom.
Going to Joe Lewicki. Oh, he's answering somebody else.
I think you just answered Jeep Girl Jody's question as well. With the Elaine Corin. Who's Elaine Corin?
I don't know. I've never heard that name, Jeep Girl Jody. I've never heard the
I
name
think you
Elaine
mean
Corin. Lorraine Carr.
Carr.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lorraine Carr. He talks about her in the 2006 interview.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't talk about her specifically in the book. He just said that he was on with somebody who was interviewing him on public radio. He didn't say who it was, did he?
Well, Lorraine Carr
No.
was not public radio. She was KTRC, which was commercial radio. Lorene Mills was public PBS TV. Going up to...
Yeah, one time a lady interviewed me. It doesn't give her name who interviewed him in the book.
It would likely have been Lorraine Carr. Yeah, Joe Lewicki, yes. I'm referring to the Yummy.
Minotaur Moreno is about to go boots on the ground and needs help. After I find the blaze and look down, am I expecting to see the chest or something else to do next? If something else, what? Good question.
Good question. Somebody should be able to answer that in the room. In our opinion, we think you look down and you have a sense of where the chest resides. I don't know necessarily if you'll actually see the chest.
So K-Pro says, if you're making a donation of $100, make one donation of $100 because it lessens the fees and they will still split it up into 425s.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll make sure we say that.
Toby, how many ways are there to hide messages in a book, says Gregory.
There are an infinite number of ways to hide messages in a book.
As many as your imagination can come up with.
And if you don't believe me, read any book by Arthur Conan Doyle.
Jimmy says, look down and pick up the chest.
Matt is a submariner. That's the SSN 699. That's the submariner which was in. My son was a submariner. Jason was a submariner.
Chris likes our microphones.
Oh, thank you. We do too. We love our microphones.
Okay. That's enough information about that.
Okay, too much information about it.
The USS Jacksonville, he says.
Oh. What kind? A boomer? What kind of sub was it, Matt? Is it? Fenn lives in the poorest county in New Mexico.
Do you know if Forrest was a
Reba.
skier during the 80s? He's never talked about it.
Never talked about it. Don't know.
He would have been in his 40s? How old was he? 50s?
When?
When he, in the 70s, when he was in Santa Fe.
By
in
that
the
time
80s.
he would have been, yeah, he arrived in
What'd you
Santa
say?
Fe in 72, so he
During
would
the
have been
80s.
42.
During the 80s, he was...
That would have put him in his 50s.
Well, I guess he's not too old,
I'll bet,
but-
I will bet it is far more likely that his daughters were skiers rather
Yeah.
than he.
It's
'Cause
just
that was-
probably not a thing his generation did a
That
whole
was
lot
part of the Santa Fe lifestyle because the ski basin is 12 miles outside of town. We used to go in high school, Thursday afternoons during winter. The school, well, not the school, but the seniors, they were given Thursday afternoon off so that we could go skiing. That's how much of a part
Is
of
that
life.
what you did?
I did. I was actually very good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was back in the olden days where we
The
used
olden days.
wooden skis and leather boots rather than all these contraptions that I bought for all my children.
Bought them.
Yeah.
All right. See what we do for our kids?
Mm-hmm.
They get all the things we wish we would have had when we were kids.
Plus, I don't remember being anywhere near as expensive to ski when it went for me as it was for my kids. They had elevated tastes.
Fenn Treasure lives in the poorest county in New Mexico, so he knows.
She's a she.
She knows. Which one is that? Poorest county?
Oh gosh,
Probably
maybe Rio
Navajo?
Reba.
I don't know. I don't know all the counties in.
No, it's not there. We
New
don't have
Mexico.
a Navajo County.
Oh, well, that's one in Arizona. See,
Yeah.
when I was growing up in Arizona, I had to learn all the counties in Arizona, but I never had to learn them in New Mexico. So all I know is Bernalillo and Sandoval, because
That's where I live and Shelley lives. Treasure Carver asks, do you know if there is a picture online of the black and white Gilbert Gall painting? You know what, Treasure Carver? I'll bet you Eric Smith knows the answer to that question, or Joel will know. But every time that story comes up, I do a search for Gilbert Gall, black and white, dead dog, etc. I've never been able to find it. So maybe somebody else has found it.
Paul Ammons.
Hang on, where do you see Paul Ammons?
Well, it's here now.
Okay.
Do you think it's more than possible to find the treasure chest with just the poem?
Do you think it is more than possible to find the chest? Yes. If you're asking me, do I need only the poem? Could I do it with only the poem? Yes.
Really? Because Fenn said if you only had the poem, probably you couldn't find it.
Well,
If you didn't have the book
if
and
what you
everything
limit
else.
yourself is if what you're doing is cutting the poem out of the book or a piece of paper and walking around looking for the treasure, holding the poem in front of your face, then no. But if you use the poem, in my opinion, if you use the poem as a basis for intellectual stimulation and additional research, then yes, you can use the poem.
But I think you also have to know that it's in the mountains somewhere north of Santa Fe. And that's in the book. It's not in the poem.
Right.
I think it's important. Christian Lido. Hello from Jersey.
Jeep Girl Jody, that's the same Lorraine Carr that in the 2006 video. Ooh, Lido, did he say where he's from?
Jersey.
Oh.
Has anyone been to the
'Cause-
Last Clue Denver Museum, and what do you guys think about that? Denver Museum.
So our position on the matter, having visited the Denver Museum, checked it out, since our position on the matter is, since none of that ever happened, there is no 10th clue in the Denver Museum.
No.
Since the event, since what he was planning to do, the reason he would have gone to the Denver Museum or left a scar, and none of it happened, so there's no 10th clue there. Wait, I need to talk. Christian, there's a really great chain of pizza parlors they started in Baltimore, or the Maryland side of the, I'm sorry, not Baltimore, the Maryland side of the Washington, D.C. metro area, and it's called Lido's, and they make rectangular pizzas, and they are just the best in the world. Are you related? That's why I'm asking.
Jimmy Fast would like to give everybody the link to my channel, The Softer Side, and go ahead and click on that after this and subscribe. And we'll see you there tonight at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I think I'm at the
So
bottom.
Matt's in a fast attack sub. He was a radio man and a radar operator. Matt, my son Jason, was a electronics technician. But there's a nickname for fast attack subs. What do they call them? They don't call them boomers, but there's a nickname for fast attack subs as well. Wonderful technology. I got interested in them when I read The Hunt for Red October. What's his name? Do you remember?
That guy.
It was just such a great book.
It's not Dean Koontz.
It was a good movie, but it was a great book. Did I say that right? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of swivet and being on top of a mountain and looking down for the blaze in it. We'd be swiveting, brother. Okay, we are at the end of chat. Have made it by, oh my God, we're getting good at this.
Yeah.
So I'm closing the chat window, guys. We won't be able to see what you're saying after this. So if you want to say something mean, this would be the time to say it. Because we can't see it.
And we just bleeped out their meanings.
We just bleeped it. We just beeped it out. Let me see. Do I have another one of these babies here?
Oh, everything's crossed out.
Yeah.
There's nothing to read.
Pitch it out.
Nothing to see.
Tell them what's happening.
Tomorrow, for A Gypsy's Kiss, we will be releasing our It's All About You video at 1 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. And, of course, tonight at 7 o'clock, Toby and I will be live on The Softer Side. And we're talking about, you know, stuff. Make sure you're there, because you might miss it.
Yeah. So last night, YouTube blocked our monetization on that.
For a moment.
I have to ask them to check it out and make sure that we don't.
I didn't want to.
No, you can say it. Go ahead and say it.
Sex
It's okay.
on the side.
Sex on the side. Yeah. Pick that up, YouTube. Okay. So let me grab the outro here, and we are ready.
Okay. Oh, we're
What?
ready. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for all your comments and questions, and for your super chat. And thank you all for being a part of the Fenn community and helping out each other, especially JJ Diggins and those people in need of a little bit of extra help. That's all I can think that we need to say for today. And for A Gypsy's Kiss, the book club, I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Tonight.
Oh.
I don't have to.